Uncles in Agony. Two blokes having a chat. My name's Mike.
My name's Joe.
We'll talk about relatable stuff, add in some humour, and take it from there.
So buckle up, baby. Welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, so our next one we're going to do today is going to be about parenting.
Oh, parenting.
Such a big one. Such a big one.
It is. How are you? You all right?
I'm all right.
Good.
I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, very well. Very well,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Been up to much different?
No, uni and work.
Just still ploughing on with that.
Yeah, what about you?
Literally just working and parenting. Yeah, you know what? And that leads us beautifully into
Parenting. Yeah.
this episode. So today we're gonna just touch on, what parenting, what it's like, and what's difficult about it, what's fantastic about it.
Yeah.
And I think provide that, that day to day, this is what we have to do, and how we juggle that, and try and do the best job at it.
Yeah. Well, you say you.
Well, yeah. So, I've got two young children, 8 and 4, two boys.
Two boys.
Yeah,
Big up the
absolute
boys.
handfuls. Yeah,
Do you enjoy it?
I do. It's such a life-changing thing for you, in your life, and I've always said, as equally as great as it is, it's got a lot of challenges to it. And I think today, what we want to do is, we're going to have that kind of chat about my perspective of, let's say my kind of journey. People may think, or I hope anyway, that some people are like, oh, do you know what? That's a little bit of what I've been going through as well. Yeah. And then from you as well, how you kind of maybe see yourself. And actually, what it's like for someone who doesn't have children at this time. What are your beliefs or even expectations?
Well, I tell you what, why don't I say how I feel about it, and then you can say whether that's true or not, and how you can relate to it. So, for example, right?
Yeah.
The thought of having children excites me a lot.
Okay.
But it also petrifies me.
All right.
Now, for silly things, right, like playing football in the garden, or, this day and age, playing computer games with them when they're a bit older, or going to like parents' evening, that excites me.
Yeah,
it does. Or taking them on holiday when they're a bit older. It can be very challenging.
Yeah.
But I think that's exciting. And also, maybe a bit morbid, but I know that when I'm old and, if I don't have children, we'll have no one. Yeah. Myself and Lola, we will have no one.
Yeah.
She's got younger sisters, but do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But it just seems so hard. It really does.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your view on that, really. So, to me at the moment, right, I'm in my late 20s. You're in your 30s.
Both in our 30s.
Somewhere in that bracket.
Yeah.
But you just can't do what you want when you want.
No.
Where I can.
Yeah.
And I enjoy
all right,
that.
Show off. Yeah.
But, if Lola and I said, we got a week off, to go away, we can just go away.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't, can you?
No, absolutely not. No.
Try and not put me off too much.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
but
firstly,
it's also realistic, isn't it? We have to be realistic.
Yeah, definitely. There's no... And to people, of course, that listening, with children, your own journey, some of this will, I think, marry up and you'll be, do you know what? I know kind of exactly what they mean, I hope. So, let's talk about the exciting parts first. And so, they're playing the football and, they're going to the parents' evening. So I can think of, the first time that you get so kind of excited just seeing them almost chasing a ball kind of over the grass, and you know, those first kind of kicks that they do, and that the kind of enjoyment. Do you know what, you carry that forever?
Yeah,
you never kind of forget that, and it's something you can kind of, you know, you can really cherish, I think. And as the big, and you know, the biggest thing that's almost I find kind of exciting is actually how they develop as well.
Yeah,
you see both small changes and then big kind of step changes in how they develop and how they grow, and that's really great. And then you almost then become kind of excited for the next bit. So you know, I've got it's great because I'm at this stage now. I've got my eldest who's 8, who's well into kind of his games and game consoles and things like that.
Age appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Peggy 8 and all that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And, you know, my youngest, he has a kind of an equal level of interest, but is still in that kind of happy holding a controller, thinking he's playing. Do you know what? It's still
Takes
great.
Off his dad.
yeah. Having a go, and often when we're playing together, that's exactly what I'll be saying. Oh, do you know what? It's just Ruben playing with this one. So yeah. That's why I'm not on the scoreboard yet. Yeah. So yeah, that's something that is really nice to kind of see, and we have that difference really, and you see that growth. That's definitely really exciting. And then the challenging parts. So do you know, I'll sum it up.
Go on.
In this simplest term: your time is no longer yours. That's the way. Again, that's not to.
I've got a stress podcast you can listen to if you,
and they go back to back on this. Yeah. But you know, that's probably the biggest shock that I think you find as becoming a parent. Your time is no longer yours, and like you said, you want to decide. Do you know what? Let's do a week at work, and then on the weekend, let's kind of jump away and just do a little city break in somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not saying that you can't ever do that, but not as simplistically. No, you've got to think about, you know, you've got to think about schooling, you've got to think about everything you've got to do at home, you know, clubs and, you know, activities that
keeping
children
them
need to do. Yeah, just keeping them entertained. And of course, the things that you enjoy, you know, you and Lola enjoying now, of going for that kind of, let's say you want to go for a little city break, you know, somewhere nice in Europe. Well, that's not going to be something that the kids will be entertained with. And, you know, therefore the kind of relaxing, you know, coffee at a bistro, that's not what you can really, maybe a little bit, but not so much, not to the same degree anyway. But yeah, the easiest way of kind of describing that is the time is no longer yours. But having said that, it's, I think, as having, you know, as a family, and then, you know, having a, you know, that kind of relationship with your partners, it's always important that you make some time. And
definitely,
you know, you make some time. But yeah, that's the kind of the real big two things, I think, that, you know, if I was to say what are the two elements of the great and the challenge part of it, it's getting the juggle of those two, really.
So, I mean, this is going to sound a little bit cringy, possibly, but one of the things that excites me the most about having children is I think Lola will be such a good mum because she enjoys all that playing around, and I don't even know how to explain it. We were having this conversation the other day, you know, like playing in the garden with them or taking them to the park or going for a bike ride. She loves that. And I just envision her being a really good mum. And that's quite exciting. Yeah.
Well, that's great. You know, when you can foresee that, and you kind of think, do you know what? That's a person that you kind of think, I can make that step change with in your life, because it is, of course, it's absolutely
huge,
massive,
isn't it? It's
Yeah,
so big.
It's kind of life changing, and it's lifelong.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is lifelong. You're right. And yeah, life changing. Yeah, for sure. How do you find it with work, doing shift work? 'Cause both you and your partner are shift workers.
Yeah,
Is that hard to juggle?
Well, yes, and what I think that for everybody now, and this is, I think quite a big thing now, that it's now important that, or it was even, I say important, it's probably standard now, where often, mum and dad have got to work.
Yeah.
And, not only think about, well, actually they've got to go to work just to provide an income to keep the house and the kids and everything all, with everything that they need, but it's your careers as well.
Yeah,
and
big
that's
time.
that's to continue and build your career, and at the time of certainly having younger children, that is massive. That is such a big thing to try and juggle, really, because you're not only doing the day job, as in turning up to work, doing what you got to do, and then coming home. You're doing all the kind of extracurricular things everyone's got to do, which is, you've got to learn more, you've got to develop more, you've got to go the extra mile if you want that promotion in your job, and to try and balance that, the danger, and often the things that sometimes can tear you away is, well, something's got to give for that to happen.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, you've got to think that everything you do, whether it's at work, and then you've got to do extra things at home, well, that's time away then from the family. You've got to really think, how much am I doing? Should I be doing it right now? And there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong on any of that.
So say, for example, if you're stressed, your mechanism for dealing with that is going to the gym. How much harder is it just going to the gym when you've got two young children at home?
It just involves planning.
Right.
Yeah, that's the difference. Rather than just thinking, I'll go Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Or whatever you do, you go every other day, whatever it may be. Well, actually, you've got to think, well, can I?
Yeah.
You've got obviously childcare. Can you work it around your partner? Have you got family? It's then just a case of, if you want to do the let's say your own thing, it's all about the planning side of things. But the thing that it makes you is that kind of more forward thinking, rather than you putting one foot in front of the other. You've got to think 5 or 6 steps ahead.
I get that.
Yeah.
Does it stress you out? Do the boys stress you out?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah. I mean, the big thing is, I think, is the demand. Is the way I would summarize
on top of
that.
Everything else as well.
Children, and becoming a parent and having children is demanding.
Yeah.
From the minute they kind of wake up, it is, kind of want, in a sense of, and it can be everything from, of course, everyday needs to, of course, you interact with them all day long, and that in itself can be
absolutely
tiring.
But they're reliant on you to survive.
Yeah.
So of course they're gonna be able, but I can see why having CBeebies on the TV all day can get draining, especially if you are trying to do extracurricular work, etc., etc. That must get tiring. So if I offered you the chance to go back 10 years, would you change it?
No.
Any aspect of it?
Any aspect? The only thing I perhaps would have done is I probably would have held off some of my career progression.
Yeah, I mean, we won't go into that too much, but we've had chats about this before.
Yeah.
And I will call you out for this. You said to me, you're not going to do any more. I mean, if you're happy to talk about it.
Yeah, go for it.
So you're doing a master's degree, and you said to me you're not going to do any more modules of it because you want to. Yeah, you're nervous now, aren't you? Because it was all getting a bit much, and you want to spend more time with the family.
Mm.
A month after that conversation, you'd started another module.
Yeah.
Can you not help yourself? Is that? Yeah, it did happen. Yeah,
yeah, it did. Yeah. Could I not help myself? It's the reason I think I did that is because I became of the mindset that it was an opportunity that was there, and you sometimes, and this is also, I think, one of the other challenges when you're kind of presented with an opportunity, so, within your job to say, do you know what, we're gonna fund something for you for your progression, something that costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
you be in that period of support in order to do it. You almost don't want to take that for granted, and it makes you then think, well, the opportunity's there, and as the old saying goes, opportunity waits for no man. And
yeah, I mean, I don't want to kiss your little bully, but you are a hard-working bloke, aren't you?
I'll try.
And you are, again, I'm not trying to boost your ego, but I think
do continue. I insist.
But you are naturally very clever. I feel as though a lot of people in your position would struggle a lot more with two young boys working full-time and doing a master's degree. Now, I'm not saying you're not struggling, but I think that is also quite a challenge.
It is, and do you know what's made that work, I think, as well as it has, is I think the support around you, and certainly with, family and, having that kind of mechanism around you to give you that space in order to do it, and as well to make sure that, of course, the children still have, the kind of those day-to-day experiences, the time that I've got to spend in doing those things.
Yeah.
And I think if you've got that, that's more the enabler for it to work. It's not about, and by no means do I think I'm, everything. It takes a lot of effort, definitely.
Yeah.
And sometimes, have I ever thought, is this taking me away from the kind of from family time? Well, of course, yes, it is. And do I sometimes think it's taking sometimes more than I would like? Yeah.
I think that's why we had the chat. Didn't we?
Oh,
because
definitely.
Obviously, you did feel like. So, I mean, maybe a bit of a tangent, but what was your upbringing like?
My upbringing, it was a good one.
Yeah,
definitely. I never went without, which was and I always I think appreciated that, and I always acknowledged that.
Yeah,
that I kind of came from, with my mum and dad, they worked incredibly hard. And with that, absolutely, I remember your birthdays and Christmas and the house and everything we had. It was lovely. And I always appreciated that actually that's what hard work gave you.
Yeah.
And I think that's, for me, is what I took from that as actually.
So do you think that's why you jump into these extra modules, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
Despite saying you're not going to, because it's just ingrained in you to work hard.
Yeah. And I almost see, it's not, of course, I want to do more and better myself and enjoy a greater development of my career. With that, of course, I do it for pay and career progression.
Yeah.
What does that give you? It then affords us to go on holidays that we might otherwise not be able to afford.
Yeah.
And have things that we might not. So that also plays into it. And of course, the kind of upbringing that I had, I want my boys to also see that and think, actually, we've, and almost appreciate that, well, we've got the things that we have because of the kind of hard work that you do.
I mean, they're probably too young to realise that at the moment. But I'm sure as they get older, they'll be able to retrospectively look back and
of course. And
Dad worked hard.
And that'll be that'll be something that it will continue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that will develop on. Absolutely. But what about from your perspective of, not saying about what's your plan, but is there anything that is there anything in either your plan, or is there anything that you're waiting for before you really think, do you know what, now might be the time?
So
Looking at children.
Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? So I want to finish university, and then, I mean, our plan is obviously with our job, we can travel quite a lot. We want to try New Zealand for a couple of years. Haven't been there recently for a fairly longish holiday / trip. So I think we'll do that first. We'll go out there for a year or two, and then you just don't know what's going to happen after that. But I mean, you're still looking at like 2 years till that comes to fruition. We're not in a rush by any means.
No.
And I think we're still both sort of 50-50 on whether we want kids. I think we both want kids, but we know how hard it can be with kids. And I'm not saying life without kids is easy or with kids is very hard.
Yeah.
It's just that freedom to go away, to do this, to do that, you know. And I suppose we're sort of fairly early on in our relationship to want to tie down to that. Let's have kids, let's start a family. Let's not be able to go away when we want and go traveling and do this. Like we both want to do stuff like that first.
Yeah.
And I suppose because of our age, we've got quite a few years left before we really need to think, if we're going to do it, we need to do it now.
Yeah.
But I think deep down, we both do want children from the chats we've had.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up for me, my biological dad ran away before I was even 1 year old. So I don't know my dad. So my mum raised us for 6 years or so on her own. And although I've now got a stepdad and have done for, over 20 years, I crave that feeling of being a dad, because like I say, I've got a stepdad and he's brilliant. He's such a lovely bloke, but it's not that father and son relationship. Do you know what I mean? And I crave that for myself, to have children so I can be a dad, because I've never really had. That sounds very harsh on my stepdad, because he is a dad to me, but not, I suppose, that natural bond that you'd have with your dad and with your own children. So I suppose I crave that because of those circumstances.
Yeah.
How do you feel as though I'd enjoy being a parent?
Is there anything what for you scares you the most about it?
The realities of life, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's finite. Something could happen tomorrow and Lola and I break up.
Yeah.
If you've got children, that makes that very hard and very hard on the children as well. I mean, I was lucky. My mum was unbelievable, and she still is. You know, she is like my hero to be able to raise children. I mean, you know, my nan and granddad helped, but all of our like core values are from my mum.
Yeah.
And so I'll forever be grateful for how brilliant she was and is. But that must, like, now I'm looking, that must have been so hard for her. He just got up and left, took all their money and ran. And so she was left with 2 children on her own. Young children, you know, I wasn't even 1. My sister was 3 or 4. So she was raising children, having to work, earn money, blah. Like, that's a challenge, man. And there's nothing to say something like that wouldn't happen. You know, touch wood, it would never would. But that's the reality of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that could happen. It just stops you being able to do so much. And I think that's where we're both at the moment. And maybe that'll change if we're able to do stuff for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, get a house, renovate it how we want, go away, whether that be to New Zealand for a few years, blah, 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 whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Just to get that out of our system, maybe.
Well, that's where, as everybody, as you kind of develop, grow, get older, whatever you might want to call it, that's where the kind of priorities alter, don't they, I think.
Yeah.
And, for instance, people can set themselves up in their priority order of, let's get the kind of job that we kind of wanted and get stable in that, kind of build the home that you kind of want to have around you, and then enjoy that, and then go on the holidays and enjoy that, everything that what you've worked for, the job and what that gives you, and then go and enjoy that, and then think we've experienced the things we want to experience. Now we kind of would feel that, the introduction of a family, you then wouldn't so much be bothered about, the elements of that single / young, do what you want as you so please.
Would you say you had that? Did you?
So much of it. Yeah. I mean, we, I think I was 27. No, that's wrong. I was 29 for my eldest. So my firstborn, I was 29. So I'd, done certainly so much in my younger 20s and to say, you know what, I've done things, experienced things, and was kind of at that place.
Yeah.
It's always difficult because...
Is there ever a right time?
No.
There's not, is there?
No.
And I think maybe the older you get, the more you realise that.
Yeah.
That actually you can keep saying, I want to do this first. But actually, life's life.
Exactly. And it's almost that part of, when is enough?
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah. It is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah.
But what is your... Okay, I'll tell you what, right? So I'll ask you after, but obviously I can only speak for myself, right?
Yeah.
So one of the funniest moments I've ever had was with my parents, right? I was with my stepdad, actually, and we were on holiday in Turkey. And and
I'm nervous.
Yeah. We were at the swimming pool and we'd been there a few days. So we were delving into the Turkish cuisine, shall we say. And we were leaving the pool and I forgot my towel.
Okay.
And so my stepdad said, grab your towel. So I turned around and as I went to get my towel, I got like this feeling in my stomach.
I'm listening.
And I thought, oh no, I'm going to poo myself.
Okay.
So to cover it up, I pretended to fall over and fall into the swimming pool.
No. Did you not think, I just won't go? Was that not the first fleeting thought you had?
I didn't really have a choice.
Oh, I see. It was happening one way or the other. Is that where you're going with this? Fine. Okay. Right.
So then,
and it already passed the point of committal, and
I had no say
you were reacting.
in what was going to happen.
Fine.
All I could try and alter was how it happened.
Fine. Okay.
And it was I'm going to pretend to fall over and fall in the pool.
Right.
So I emerged
some real acting skills.
Yeah. Well, I would say I'd want to see it back, but I don't. So I emerged from the water.
Right.
And looked at my stepdad, who honestly looked like he had seen a ghost. Right. And then as I looked at him, I sort of looked to the side of the pool. Half of my poo was sitting on the side of the pool.
On the side of the pool?
On the side.
Oh, she didn't make it.
The other half was floating in the pool. So I obviously got out as quick as I could, grabbed the towel, and then we sort of like hysterically ran back. I mean, I was probably 10 or 11, right? So I was young, but not
not young enough.
Not young enough.
Yeah, not young enough to walk that half and go, oh, kids.
So I'll be honest, he ran away. He ran away from me, and he will admit that.
He ran away.
I was literally chasing
I don't
him.
know this child.
Look, we look nothing alike. And so I literally chased after him. And then
you chased after him.
We got back to the room. Well, he beat me back. And obviously he'd broke the news about what had happened. My mum was standing there with some kitchen roll and said, you got to go tidy up.
No, you didn't do that walk of shame, did you?
To my stepdad.
Oh, no.
I was like, yeah,
you better add.
Yeah. Family counts here, but
I'll sit in the room and read Beano or whatever it is you'll do. And
I'll go sit on the toilet. I don't feel good, but he didn't. I had to go, and the pool was genuinely shut for the remainder of our time in Turkey.
And how long was that?
It must have been another 4 or 5 days.
And the pool was shut.
It was shut. Yeah, it was shut. I mean,
well,
but like events in life that'll just stick with you forever.
Yeah, well,
and everybody else around that pool. Now, I would just love to have been the dad in that situation because I would have just found it hilarious. Slightly embarrassed, but I would have found it hilarious.
Yes. It's a fine line, isn't it?
And it's just stuff like that, right? That you just can't write it. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And you only get that with children. Situations like that only arise when you're with kids. And there's something just so wholesome and funny about me pooing myself in a Turkish swimming pool that makes me want to be a dad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get
Probably
you.
not.
I get you. No, I get
you. But have there been any standout moments like that for you as a dad where you just hysterically think like this is the best job in the world, being a dad?
What immediately kind of comes to my mind where I think, yeah, you know what, this is, really great, is when you kind of, when you do, things, so like when we went to Euro Disney.
Yeah.
And, fantastic.
Yeah.
Just to see them really kind of enjoy that. And you kind of enjoy it yourself. You can kind of use it. It's always great using the kids. But yeah, come on, let's go on this. I really enjoyed that. Oh, no, I mean, you did. Let's go and do it for you.
For the 4th time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's kind of moments like that where you can see their kind of enjoyment and how, I guess it's more the kind of providing part for me.
Is that the reward from the hard work?
Yeah, I think definitely.
And you see it.
Yeah. And you think actually that's why we're doing this. Now. We can do it and we are doing it. And that's, that's the bit that for me, when they kind of enjoy that, and when you see that, you go, this is why you kind of do it. And it is the moments that I take away from that really sticks to heart.
It's a bit deep, mate.
Yeah, well, that's just
has it changed you as a person being a dad? Is Mike now different to Mike 10 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah. How?
Oh, you really put me on the spot for that, didn't you? I thought we'd just move on from there, really, and start introducing the next episode.
Yeah, how? Yeah. How's it changed you? If I met you 10 years ago, what would be different about you to now? Or do you just think, in general, you have to grow up, you have to become more of a provider, more of a role model?
Yeah, I mean, you have to the role model part, I think, and I think it's made me more realise, I think, what you do and how it impacts everyone else around you. I think because you're no longer thinking for yourself, that's what changes.
Yeah. I suppose you can't have that mindset. Let's earn a bit of money so we can go away for a weekend.
No.
It's let's do an extra shift so we can put a bit of money aside for Disneyland. Or for Christmas to buy them something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose you have to mature in that sense.
And I think now it's probably a good point that we might be able to bring in a part 2 and
get some of our
the perspectives going on. So,
well, it's been interesting.
Yeah,
it hasn't really helped me make my mind up, if I'm honest. But maybe
that's why we've got to wait for part 2, mate.
Yeah,
that's
wow.
Why, grand finale and all that.
Ooh, but I suppose it's such a big, broad topic, isn't it? Parenting. There's so many. I mean, you can sort of relate being a parent to everything: stress, work, mental health, holidays. It literally relates to every topic. So it'll probably be something that dips into most of our conversations, I'd imagine. But yeah, Got anything else to say?
No, so I think thanks for listening to our next
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.
part. Yeah.
And we will
Catch
see
you on the next
soon.
one.
Take it easy.